What is going down? What the fuck is going down, man? It is your boy, StudioMguyvR, and you are listening to StudioMguyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. Welcome to the show, guys. If you're new to the channel or show, then I think you've come to the right place because we talk about all things nerd culture here. If you're here for anime, if you're here for video games, then we talk about all of that stuff, guys, and we're going to get into it. So another episode number 204. Yes, and I have a lot to talk about. I'm going to be talking about some Nintendo Direct. Yes, we had a huge Nintendo Direct. I'm going to talk about the gold pieces, throughout and the things that I'm looking forward to. And then I have some criticisms and I have some things to discuss when it comes to Nintendo, man, and what they have been doing as of late. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are kind of torn. There's a lot of people that are really pissed off, man, about this past Nintendo Direct. And I'll get into that, all of that, guys, later on in the show. Also, I want to talk about Google Stadia. There's more Google Stadia news, stuff that has come up. I want to talk about that a little bit. And then we have a couple of things I want to talk about when it comes to some movies. There's a couple of trailers, Mortal Kombat trailer, and there's some other things on there. Some information I tried to seek out about Kimetsu no Yaiba, aka Demon Slayer, and when we will finally be able to watch that and where we'll be able to watch that. What I've been playing this week, guys, it's very, very simple. I'm going to get into that. As far as anime, this is a record for me. Well, the record technically is like almost 3 weeks without without watching anime for me. So it's been about 2 weeks now. And I haven't really watched any anime. I watched a little bit, and I consider like an hour to an hour and a half not much. You know what I mean? So I don't even like to mention that. And that's about as much as I've had a chance to watch. Maybe an hour's worth of anime. Nothing to be, nothing to write home about. Nothing new that I've sunk my teeth into or anything like that. So technically, I haven't really watched any new anime or any other anime whatsoever this past week, guys. Pretty much, man, my gaming has consisted of one fucking game, and I'll talk about that as well. And another show I want to talk about is WandaVision. Man, WandaVision has really, man, I got a lot of that done. Did watch a lot of that, caught up on that, and the show ended up being very good, man. I think I watched like 4 or 5 episodes in a row. I neglected to watch a lot of the episodes, and there's so many things to fucking watch. There's so many things on backlog, that you just get lost in the shuffle sometimes. And you end up getting the things when you can get to them. And usually how I do it is I'll just go look at my backlog. And this goes for games, anything that I do or I enjoy doing and I don't get a chance to do for an extended period of time. It'll be a random ass day like a fucking Wednesday morning. And then I end up falling into that rabbit hole. I'll end up watching a shit ton of anime or playing a game that I haven't played, hadn't had a chance to get around to, and then I lose myself in that game for, days on end. And that's just how it works sometimes. And the same thing goes for shows. You know what I mean? I forget about shows. I forget about, the next season of shows coming out. And then sometimes I purposely avoid watching shows so I can binge them at a later date. You know what I mean? Case in point, Attack on Titan. I have not watched the final season of Attack on Titan anything yet. I watched, I think, 1 episode, then I stopped myself and I said, you know what? I'm going to chill until this is done because I want to watch it all in its entirety. And I hate the fact of juggling shows, juggling different things. I don't want too many of that. I don't want like 5 shows that I'm watching and I'm watching it on a weekly basis. I like to say, okay, let me focus on this show and all of this show this week. Let me binge this show and I can get it all done and be done with it and then move on to another one. That's kind of like how I am. So when new anime comes out and people say, hey, man, you should watch this or you should watch that. Yeah, I watch that first episode and then I'll make a decision, a game time decision. Should I continue or should I wait for it to be complete or at least in chunks? So I might watch like 3 or 4 episodes at one time, and then I won't watch it again for a month and I'll come back and do that same thing. You know what I mean? That's just how I like to do it because it just pisses me off when I'm sitting there watching something and I have to wait a whole nother fucking week. And especially when we're talking about anime, which the average anime episode is only about 22 minutes. Sometimes if they really want to be stingy, it could be like 20 fucking minutes. Okay. And then you have to wait a whole nother fucking week to watch the next 20 minutes. So that's just how I feel. That's how I deal with my shit. And, everybody has their own thing. That's just me. But yeah, man. WandaVision was really good though. And there's an issue with WandaVision. And has nothing to do with the show. It has absolutely nothing to do with the production or anything like that. It basically has to do with the shit I'm using to watch it on. And I'm talking about the Fire Stick. Because we have Fire Sticks here. We have like 2 Fire Sticks and 1 Roku. Okay. And we just recently got the Roku not too long ago, like around Thanksgiving or some shit like that. But I must say, the Roku is so much better, in my opinion, than the fucking Fire Stick. Because we've been using the Fire Stick for years. And I thought, the Fire Stick was pretty dope, But there's just little things that the Roku has, in my opinion. The quality. Let me say that, like the quality and control in the remote controls, like the Roku controller it feels very premium, man. It just feels like it's been made with care. Not the Fire Stick. Okay. Fire Stick it broke on us. Like our Fire Stick, and it was fairly new. I mean, we recently got a newer Fire Stick and it lasted maybe a year, and then the fucking controller went out. It just stopped fucking working. So then we had to fucking get the controller, download the app for a controller and use that. And it's a pain in the ass to use your phone as a controller sometimes. So we've been doing that, and then we decided to we got a new TV, and we got a Roku, and we put that in the living room. And since we've got that Roku, man, I love that Roku. You know what I mean? It's just quick. It's very responsive. All of that. Now, the issue I'm having with fucking Disney Plus right now, and I looked into it, and I'm not the only person. Apparently, there's a lot of people having issues with the fucking Fire Stick and Disney Plus for some reason. Now, the Roku is fine. It does everything. It handles all of my apps. Hulu, WWE Network now that I just added there, and then Crunchyroll. All these things fluid, no problems whatsoever. But I don't know, the Fire Stick, man, it has not been working for the last few days. Disney Plus. Every other thing works, like Hulu, Netflix, WWE, all the other stuff that we watch, it works fine. But when we turn on Disney, you just get that fucking that rolling, that animation that you get, that nothing happens. But if we go into the living room, turn it on, oh, it's fine. Or even the PlayStation, the PS4 or whatever, is fine. You know what I mean? Or online, it's fine, of course. But for some reason, there's an issue that's happening, and it has to do with the Amazon Fire Stick and Disney, man. I don't know if they hate each other. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but they need to fix that shit pronto, because last week it was working. Everything was all good just a week ago, and now it's not. So I don't know, man. That's just the issue I'm having right now. So we were gonna watch it in the living room, but then my son, I moved the Xbox to the living room, not his room. And now, we had to wait for him to get up. So I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. We'll just finish the last episode tomorrow. Okay. So yeah, but so far, WandaVision is fucking crispy. I love that shit. The way it started out, now I understand how they did it and why they did it. I was a little confused at first, and I wasn't feeling it that first episode until we got to the end, and then it kind of left a little opening to suspect things, and then they just kind of let the lid off the can, the next episode, and then every episode after that, it was crazy. So yes, I also heard that WandaVision shut down like Disney for a second. Like, it was so many people trying to watch it that it kind of slowed it down and stopped it for a lot of people. Maybe, I'm assuming that could have been us, but like I said before, in the living room it worked, in our room it did not. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's my issue right now with the fucking Fire Stick. But if you have the choice, if you have a choice and you're wondering which one you should buy, which one you should have, I'm going to tell you right now, the Roku is the one you want to fuck with. Okay, no problems with the Roku whatsoever. Everything is very responsive, very quick. It's a joy to use, man. So yeah. And I heard that their app is dope too. My girl has the app apparently, and she says the app is very simple, easy to use, better than the app that you have to have for the Fire Stick. So Amazon can learn some shit, especially with all the money that they have. They need to do fucking better with this. But let's move on, guys, and let's talk a little bit about the Mortal Kombat trailer that just happened a few days ago that came out. The Mortal Kombat trailer, I finally got a chance to watch it, and man, I'm really digging that shit. It looks like it's gonna be rated R. You can tell by the language and all of that. I think this is how Mortal Kombat should have always been made. You know, even though the old Mortal Kombat movie was dope, there were a couple of them, but the first one was really dope. And I think this one's gonna be good, man. And you know, it's always a slippery slope when you're dealing with video games, and then you try to make movies with them and all that. It's a lot of hit and miss with that shit, and mostly miss. Okay, but I got a feeling that this one is gonna be pretty good, man. I have faith from what I've seen in the trailers. I think we're gonna have some dope shit, and I can see the merch falling from the skies for collectors, motherfuckers like me. And yeah, I can see merch falling from the sky. Yeah, I'm excited to see what's gonna happen and watch this movie. And we get it on HBO Max. So when it comes out, baby, we already here. Now, that leads me to Kimetsu no Yaiba. I was doing some digging and I was like trying to find out, and I can't really get a real answer, but the internet's saying that when the movie is ready, it's gonna be ready for streaming. You know, where most places are streaming. Hulu is even gonna be on Netflix, of course, Crunchyroll, and there's gonna be two versions, of course, the dub and the sub. So you're gonna get both at the same time. And the theaters is the question that I'm having, okay? Because the website is saying that the last entry, I want to say, was January, like late January 20th or some shit, 22nd. I can't remember the exact date, but they were saying that it is coming. The English dub is being done, or it is done, and it's going to be early 2021. That's basically it. There's no date attached to it. I've heard people say February 26th, but you know, who knows? I don't know how long it's going to be in theaters here before it's, you know, streamable. And with the COVID thing going on, I don't know how they're going to handle that. That's why I was hoping that maybe HBO Max got a hold of it some sort of way, and we got a chance to watch it that way. It's gonna be crazy to see how this is gonna go, but I couldn't really find any concrete information to give you guys as far as, you know, where and when we'll be able to watch this. I do know all those platforms will be streamable when it becomes available, but the question is when. And then, you know, the question is in the theaters, what kind of gap will we get, or will we get a gap at all? I don't know, guys, but I will definitely keep you posted if I have new information, because this is a movie that I've been waiting to see. And then they already, you know, got season 2 in the works this year. So we should be able to catch season 2 at the end of the year. The start of the end of the year is when it should start. And then this movie. So yeah, that's my goal right there with that. All right. Next on the fucking list is, I'm gonna go ahead and get into the games that I've been playing. Well, game that I've been playing. And it's only one game, guys, and it's WWE 2K19. Should you be surprised? I've been on this wrestling kick for the last week or two now, and I haven't got off the fucking train. I've still been watching wrestling. That's all I've been fucking watching. That's where all my TV time has been going. Last night, smoked a joint, sat down, fucking turned on the fucking TV, and began to watch wrestling. I've been watching documentaries. I've been watching all kinds of, you know, shit, WWE. I've been watching independents. I've been just like soaking, like a sponge, soaking up matches, watching just things about wrestling, and yeah, and playing 2K19, because 2K19 right now, if you're a wrestling video game player like me, and you're on a current system, you know, something current, not like throwback stuff, like retro stuff that I also love, which is like the whole, you know, AKI engine, the No Mercies, those type of games, virtual pro wrestlings and stuff like that, then the next thing in line, the best simulation or simulated wrestling game, in my opinion, is WWE 2K19, because 2K20 is trash, and it's a lot of fucking bugs, and it's just not worth it. And 2021, we didn't have, because they knew what the fuck they were going to be getting into, so they said, fuck it, we're going to skip it and we'll go 2022. I'm interested to see how 2022 is going to pan out. I've seen a few light videos on it. I'm going to dig a little deeper before I start talking about it. But, PS5, it looks interesting. I'm going to see what they have to bring to the table. I just really don't feel that comfortable with Ukes not being there. I didn't get a chance to find out if Ukes is going to be on board with this one. I doubt that they are, but maybe they will be. But Ukes is what made a lot of things possible, in my opinion, for that franchise. And I think they took Ukes for granted on those games because I've played, I think I played 2016. I've been pretty much keeping up with those up till to 2019. And 2019 is the best you're gonna get out of these games. Like I say, it's very enjoyable. Graphics A1. All the things that they have to offer is beautiful. Like the technology that we have now with these games, like as far as creating a superstar, whether you want to put yourself in the game or whether you want to put a wrestler who isn't included, is the thing that we've reached a pinnacle point in that you can pretty much make anybody you want. And I mean that shit like wholeheartedly, guys. Like, I mean, like, if you know anything about me, if you're new listening to this podcast, man, I'm a very creative person. I love, creating things, love making music in my spare time. I love, any game that has to do with customization. Like I'm a sucker for customization. You know what I mean? Like I enjoy making things, and just building my own, whatever the fuck it may be. Okay. This shirt that I'm wearing right now is a shirt that I made. I made the logo. If you can read it, Anbu Black Ops. I'm a huge Naruto fan. Most of you guys already know that, and I love the the Anbu Black Ops. My favorite organization within that universe, and I'm a huge Kakashi fan. Favorite character in Naruto, whatever. But I just love creating things, man, and that's one of the things I love about this game. Being a wrestling fan as a kid, and then being able to, bring back those days of yesteryear, and then even wrestlers that I'm a fan of now that I'm coming into contact with now, and or older wrestlers that I've been a fan of when I was young, and they're still in the game. They're still out there doing things. Like Jericho is one guy who's always been reinventing himself, which is crazy, and I think that's awesome. And then there's other ones as well, but you can make anybody. The technology is so good now that I've seen characters, and I've mentioned this before, that wrestlers that other people are creating, they look better than the actual wrestlers that are in the fucking game. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's mind blowing. How that shit works. You know what I mean? I mean everything from their tattoos, everything from their gear. I mean it's possible to make this shit. And that's the part that I love about it, especially my roster, like my downloaded roster of characters that other people have made. That roster is gonna eventually surpass the roster that's already come in the game. I don't remember how many wrestlers are in the game, like off top automatically, but it's a lot. It's easily like 60 to 70 characters, right? So I think I have now about 30 characters that I've downloaded easily. 30 characters. So yeah, in a month from now, it'll definitely be double that. Definitely be. So eventually my roster from downloads will overpower these other rosters. So yeah, man. I'm just having a blast doing that, and all the rings that I've downloaded from FMW, to fucking Ring of Honor, to Impact, even the Japanese rings, the G1 classics and stuff like that from Japan, like all these arenas. There's so many creative people, so many people who are so creative and talented, man, out there that are making these arenas and making these things. The One Night Stand arena, the stadium that they had, the fucking ballroom stadium from the 2005 pay-per-view, like that shit. I have that. Somebody created that shit, and it looks fucking spot on, man. And you really feel like you're in those venues when you play these matches, man. It's so dope. But I don't know, man. I've been inspired. To create an actual fucking YouTube channel that just revolves around people who love wrestling games. And I don't know, it just gave me an idea because I love fighting games. That's my second favorite genre in games, and wrestling is a fighting game. It's just a different kind of fighting game. It's still a fighting game, but I love wrestling games. Like a good wrestling game, I don't care how old it is or how new it is. If I like it, I'm down. Like even back on the Nintendo, like pro wrestling, um, those games, like I love them. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing that I'm into right now. And even creating these wrestlers, like they take wrestlers from like 8-bit Nintendo games and make actual games. I was watching a video the other day about this guy who was creating all the wrestlers that came, all the wrestlers that came from WCW No Mercy. No, I'm sorry, WCW/NWO Revenge. Okay, a guy named Kim Chi. Um, if you've played those games, you know who the fuck Kim Chi is. Okay, white karate pants, bald head. He's got the Krillin dots on his fucking head, and he's got a beard. Okay, but there was a guy who he took that character and he created, multiple versions of him for the game, and it looked awesome. He did like a 5-10 minute video. It was awesome. But you can do things like that. Create your own stable, which I plan on doing. I plan on diving deep into this shit. You know what I mean? And even making my own custom ring, custom belt, custom all these things eventually, and trying to do something with that and share it with you guys. Put it on the channel or whatever. But yeah, I'm in the process of creating a YouTube channel, and it's called I Love Wrestling Games Too. So be on the lookout for that probably in the next couple weeks. I actually started the page, but there's a couple other things I want to do for it before I, start putting videos on there. And I'm actually taking footage from PS4, from 2K19, and there's other wrestling games that I play that I want to record content for. And then, I'll have all kinds of shit in there, man. I'll have all kinds of wrestling games, footage, and stuff like that. I think it's going to be dope. So everybody out there who enjoys wrestling games, definitely check this page out, and I'll let you guys know when it's available. And, there's a lot of people who, I was one of those for a long time, that didn't watch wrestling anymore, that didn't really enjoy wrestling anymore, but I always enjoyed playing the games. And, there's probably some people out there who still enjoy that, who may not who are into wrestling now, but just the games are so fun, man. And then when you play with certain wrestlers, you're like, yo, you try people out. You're like, who is this guy? His moveset is kind of sick. And you get curious and you go off in here. But yeah, the wrestling scene now is really interesting, man. I'm happy that I've found it again. I really have to say that I'm very, very pleased and happy with myself that I actually got back into it. It's amazing. It's completely different now. There's just so many different options. Especially now with YouTube and how that's going on. I mean, I was watching a whole bunch of like ICW matches, this other promotion who was like overseas, I think, and they were doing some stuff, man. And it's just beautiful to see all these other wrestlers who are going to be going places, who are you can tell that they're moving, and you're going to see them on a bigger and brighter stage one day. It's just an awesome thing. And I'm like, okay, who is this guy? Okay, I like him. Give myself a challenge. If nobody has made this guy yet, let me go and see if I can create this character or whatever. Or, sometimes I might download a wrestler and he might have his movesets and everything, because those are separate. You can download the wrestler, the cosmetic version of him, and then you can literally go in and download an actual separate moveset for that character that somebody else created for that character, or make your own. So what I would do is I would tweak some certain things, especially characters that are really, really important to me, like a Jericho or something. Like I downloaded this Chris Jericho the night he fought. I want to say he fought Kenny Omega that night, and he came out in face paint, and you never see Jericho in face paint. Like I thought that was so dope, but he had this black face paint around his eyes and fucking lips and shit, and it just looked sick. And somebody actually made that version of him, wearing his t-shirt, wearing the makeup, all this crazy shit, man. So I tweaked a couple things on his entrance, and I tweaked some of his moves or whatever, and I might do something like that. But that's the beauty of all of this shit. You have all this stuff at your fingertips and disposal, and it's just awesome. So that's what I'm doing right now. I think that's the realm I'll be in for a while. The only other game I thought about playing is fucking The Division 2. I got excited when they announced new content coming this year for that. I think the last piece of content came out was like some Raccoon City type shit, which was okay. You know, I'm a Resident Evil fan too, so I appreciate that. But I'm looking forward to like just getting back out there, getting with my friends, you know, who used to play it, and having some fucking fun out there. You know what I mean? Because that's one game that brought us together. It always brought the main clique together. Like the number of people who were in my party, you know, I rubbed elbows with so many different people and got cool with them off of fucking Division and Division 2. You know, I made so many dope friends off of those games, and then ended up, you know, getting with some of those guys on other games like Ghost of Tsushima. When the multiplayer came out, I had some great times there, and that game was my shit. Like always and forever, especially in the online mode. Like I was out of our group, I was that guy that you could always count on, that wouldn't catch L's, wouldn't die. I was always around. I'd always be there to save people. I was a samurai build, and I fucking loved my build, man. So yeah, I might have to revisit that because I still have that downloaded on my PS4. So yeah, there's some games you just don't take off your game system, and that's one of those as well. So yeah, it'd probably be cool to go back out there and you know, get accumulated, get accustomed to doing that shit again, for sure. But yeah, man, I mean, that's my gaming, you know, as of late. That's what I've been doing. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that little segment. Anyway, let's move on, and I'm gonna get into Nintendo at the end of the show. And before we get into Nintendo, I want to talk about Konami. Now, Konami, if you don't know who these guys are, they are known for Metal Gear, the Metal Gear franchise, and so many other great ones. Okay, and one another one is Silent Hill. Okay, but you know, they've been kind of hitting, they've been missing lately. I think one of the games they came out with, I want to say, is 2018, and it was Metal Gear Survive. Oh my god, that game was so fucking trash. And I don't know. I don't even know what to say. That words can't even describe how trash that game was. And I just couldn't believe that Konami was putting out boo boo like this. I mean, they had the butter on the table in liquid form, and they were doing strange things to consumers in the dark with this warm butter. And I just I can't even talk about it. But anyway, I say that to say that finally somebody has put down the fucking sake, okay, have put down the fucking scrolls that they were smoking, and they've decided to possibly give other companies and devs a chance to fucking do something with some of these super franchises that they have sitting in their fucking lap. Okay? When they came out with Metal Gear Survive, I mean, they fucking basically took 2 steps backwards for that franchise, man. You know, it leaves a little dirt on your shirt when you do stuff like that. And it tells me that the people working on these games are completely out of touch with the fan base and what they want, and or they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're just, like I said, in the boardrooms with the door closed, with the towel up under the crease of the door, with nothing but endo sticks and scrolls lit, smoking them. They have their sake glasses filled to the brim, and they're sipping on that, and they're just making a lot of fucking bad decisions, man. You know what I mean? So hopefully, I think they've seen the light. They've detoxed a little bit, and they're going to give other companies some chances, some shots. Now, we have some rumors out here, and I have a feeling, I'm 100% sure that pretty soon we're going to get some announcements, and they're going to be revolving around Silent Hill. Okay? There's rumor right now that there's 2 different Silent Hill games being worked on. One of them is more like a Telltale type of story, type of experience, and the other one is an actual soft reboot of the original Silent Hill game, which is still a fucking classic in my opinion. I mean, I used to love the Silent Hill games on the older consoles, man. They had the special feel to them, you know. They still do to this day. I love the Silent Hill games. Kept me up plenty of nights with my brothers and my cousins and friends, you know, trying to get out of that fucking town. But anyway, that is a little bit of news there. Hopefully, we will see the light of day this year, very soon, 2021. Now I'm going to talk about Google Stadia, okay, because they're still here, they're still running around, they still have butter all over the place, and they're full of fuckery, okay, and I'm saying that because, you know, there was some news that just surfaced recently with them, and their employees. Okay, they were basically lied to, and the butter was definitely pulled out and put on the table and used on them. No doubt about that in my fucking mind. Um, Basically, the boss pretty much lied to them, told them that, you know, they praised him. They literally sent out a fucking email, okay, and told them, and told all their devs, hey, guys, want to just praise you guys, tell you guys that you're doing a great job. We're making great progress. Everything's good. And then a fucking week later, you come back and you fucking lay all of them off, man. Okay? No warning, none of this shit. Okay? They weren't warned, nothing. They weren't given a heads up. None of that. It's just a week later, just they did that. Okay? And I'm referring to when they basically killed their in-house studios. Okay? They were working on a lot of projects, you know, that nobody else was working on. They had their own in-house studios doing stuff inside. Okay? I'm sure what happened, they looked at the numbers. They saw where the shit was going. They saw the bad press, all of the things that were being talked about, which, you know, that is the future, but it's not this future. It's further into the future when the technology can catch up to what you're trying to bring to the table. Okay, that's basically what's happening. They want people to pay premium prices for things that are, in a sense, ghost-like. Okay, they want, you know, you to pay like you're buying a physical copy of a game, like that's going to be your game. You can play it whenever you want, and you have no worries. They want you to pay the same price for a game you go right in the GameStop and buy physically in your hand. Okay, but you're paying them full price for air is what you're doing. You're paying for, yeah, I'm gonna pay that $64 and some change for air. And if you guys decide to say fuck you, or the internet crashes, or for whatever reason happens, I don't have access to that game. Okay, if you decide to go belly up, like it looks like this is the tip of the iceberg right now, then it looks like, you know, those games that you paid that money for, they're going to be lost in digital space somewhere. You're not going to be able to get that. You just basically paid that money for a limited time, and that is what it's going to be. Okay, when the same person, you know, in another town bought that same game, but he bought it physically, guess what? 10 years later, he can put it in, he can play it. Okay, you don't have that luxury. You may love this game. It may be one of these games, you know, like if you're somebody like me who I keep everything that all my game systems, man, or I'm buying old shit, or I'm buying shit that I I used to have. So I have a shit ton of systems. I have a shit ton of handhelds, older systems, all of these things in games too included. And I play a lot of these games. And I like to go back and revisit some of these games and stuff like that, some of my old favorites. And you don't have that luxury when you are dealing with companies like this, because everything is just online. Okay. And then I haven't even begun to talk about the other Achilles heel in this situation, which I've talked about these things before, but I didn't get a chance to reassert this important part or section. And I've left it out a few times. And I'm talking about the bandwidth. Okay. Which is probably the most important thing when you're dealing with this type of stuff, because anytime you want to stream a game, which is what Google Stadia is, a streaming game service, you have to fucking pay for that. You have a certain amount of bandwidth within your house, what you pay for with your provider. You know, everybody's provider is different and their rules are different, but the average person, you know, you have a set bandwidth. Okay. Most people never go over that, never flirt with going over that, because, you know, when you're streaming TV or shows, it's completely different than streaming a game. Okay. It costs way more bandwidth to stream a game. I mean, way more than to like stream TV or the internet or whatever the fuck I'm talking about. Okay. And that's the issue. That's the other issue you would have, because if you're really into a game, and trust me, I have sunk hours into games. Like certain games come out, I've put literally 100 plus hours in games. You're talking about spending time like that within a short time frame. You're talking about capping your fucking bandwidth. The average person is going to cap their shit unless you have an unlimited plan, which most people don't. But you'll end up capping that within a fucking week. probably within days, depending on how you how you fucking stream your stuff, man. So that is a huge problem as well. And then let's talk about everybody's internet is not created equal. It has never been, and I see it almost every fucking day. Okay, going over one street, and I'm like, yo, this whole complex is fucking dead on this service. Okay, and so on and so forth. So you definitely have to keep your eyes peeled for all of these things. And it amazes me that a lot of people don't talk about these things. They buy it, and a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know how this shit works. They think, oh, I'm just buying this and I can play it home and I can pull up it and play it on anything, and that's it. But when they get that bill, or when they dig a little deeper and they start realizing, then they realize that the butter has been used on them, and they've been fucked. Okay. And that's basically what it is. And I think that was the beginning of the end from Google Stadia. Once all this information came out, I just didn't think they were going to be able to handle that. And I think they just were overstepping their boundaries just a little bit. They're just too early for what they're trying to accomplish. The technology is just not there. They can't keep up with it right now, because when you create things like this, you want to create an even playing field. You want everybody who purchases your product to experience the same joy in a blanketed fashion. You want everybody to experience that, but you're not going to get that. You're going to get some experiencing it. You're going to get some that have terrible experiences because of their location, because of maybe their internet provider, capping out it, and a night of gaming. You know what I mean? It's just going to suck for a lot of people. And until they iron out all of these problems and all these scenarios, it's never going to be where they want it to be. Until this 5G gets here, and I've heard a lot about 5G and what the potential could be once 5G is here. It would solve a lot of problems for a lot of devs and things like this. But we're not there yet. We're not to a place where everybody is 5G, where 5G is the norm. Even if it's like coming upon being the norm, we're not nowhere near that. So until we get there, man, I just don't see things happening for Google Stadia. Now they have money and they have plenty of it. They could ride this shit out, but when you cancel these studios, which I know they have way more money, I know they have money to pay these people to still work on these games, but when they start abandoning ship on this type of stuff, it's only a sign of what's to come soon. Okay, it's only a matter of time before you hear that Google Stadia is closing your doors, all of these things. Because why close down the stadium? Why close down your company, your devs? Shut your devs down and fuck up your own entities, things that you were in the process of making. All that hard work, all those man hours that went into a lot of these games that will never see the light of day. What do you show? What do you have to show for that? Nothing but a bunch of fired, disgruntled workers now, who basically have nothing else to say to you. And then they talk about, well, we're gonna some of these guys in the company, we're gonna move them around to other things and other positions. But then you start fucking with more things, because the majority of these people are trained and have went to school for these specific things to do, and these are things that they are passionate about and they love. And then you're telling them that, well, this position is not going to work out for you, this is not what you signed up for, but we're going to move you over here and put you somewhere completely different, out of your element, and you're going to end up probably hating that job. And it's a recipe for disaster, man, is what it is. And I feel sorry for those devs and those people who were told that they were going to have an extended stay, because the average game is easily 4 years to make, and within a year, they shut the shit down. So I don't know what else to say. They have a lack of promised features, on things as well. It's just a lot of things, guys, that weren't in their favor, and it was they were losing before they even begun. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's just what it is. If I were them, I would have definitely took all that money and that manpower, and I would have created my own system. You know what I mean? They have the money to do it. That's where I really got excited when I thought that this is where they were going. But when it was streaming, I said, yeah. It shows you that the gaming is not even in their. They don't even care, to be honest with you. The higher ups, they just wanted to have something to do. Let's start our own gaming company. I mean, just for shits and giggles. Okay, because if they were passionate and they really felt the way, a lot of people felt about this, they wouldn't have let this happen. They would have taken that money and said, "No, we're going to keep this afloat. We're going to get these games done and made. We're going to put the right people in the right places. All of these things." But you can tell that for them to throw that away so quick within a year, that they are not. That is not their priority right now. Google is they're known for other things, and that's pretty much what they're doing, and they're focused on. They're not focused on a gaming company. Not for real. They're not. They were just playing around, in my opinion. And it's a shame because with the money that they have and the resources and all of that, they technically have a great chance to have made something beautiful. But that's what happens sometimes when you're dealing with people with money who don't give a shit about a lot of things. They're just throwing money around, and this is what you get. So, and that's why you have those smaller studios and a lot of these smaller companies and smaller teams that are making cult classics and games that will forever live on because the passion is there. There's nothing without passion, man. You know it. You know a product with passion. You know a product without passion. You can tell. You play games long enough, as much as I have, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have. You recognize that shit, and that's just what it is. So I'm gonna put Google Stadia to bed. Google, if you're listening to this, please throw out the butter. Please put the butter away and pour out the sake. And also, last but not least, please throw out the scrolls and the endo sticks. Thank you. All right. Anyway, let's move on and let's get on to the lecture at hand. The last piece to the puzzle, guys. Nintendo Direct. Yes, Nintendo had a Nintendo Direct, and it was a pretty beefy Direct. It was like 50 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. And there was a lot of things that came out of this, but there was a lot of things that did not. And I'm going to touch on some of these things. One of the things I want to touch on, I want to start off with, is a game that we have coming. They say it's coming 2021. It's a free-to-play game. Okay, it's set between episode 6 and episode 7, and it's a fucking third-person shooter. Okay, so far, all things there's music to my ears, and this is a Star Wars game. It's called Star Wars Hunters. Star Wars Hunters. Let me put the T in it. But yeah, I'm just surprised that if it's coming out this year, there's no date yet. I'm trying to figure out why that is. They announced the game, but they didn't give us the rest. It's kind of strange, but I'll take what I can get when it comes to Star Wars and video games. I really will. It's already, it feels like as soon as EA lost their exclusive rights to the franchise, man, the Star Wars games are going to start pouring from everywhere, and that's beautiful. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, man. I'm so glad about that. But yeah, moving on though, the Nintendo Switch news. This game, yeah, I'm anxious. I love third person games. It's a third person shooter, so I'm definitely excited to see what this is going to be about. It's free to play as well, so I'm anxious to see how this is all going to pan out, man. You know what I mean? It's going to be dope. We'll find out. And this is on the Nintendo Switch. Now, I don't know if this is coming out on other systems or not. I'm definitely going to look into that, but on the Nintendo Switch for sure. And that's just one more thing that if you're a Switch owner, you can be happy about. Now, there was a lot of games announced. I think there was about 20-something games, like 21, 22 games announced. Most of them, let's keep it real with each other, at least for me, were garbage or games that I was not interested in. But there were some that, of course, I got excited about. And I'm going to talk about a few of those. Okay. One, of course, is No More Heroes, which is coming out in August. Always been a Travis Touchdown guy. Loved his games in the past. Wasn't too keen on the last one that came out for the Switch. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more what No More Heroes 3 is going to be, or what No More Heroes 1 or 2 was, but it wasn't. But yeah, looking forward to that game. Also, they announced Zelda Skyward Sword, okay, in July. Coming out in July. It's an HD version. You're going to get the 60 frames. You're going to get the HD and all that, which is all cool. But that's not what people really want to know when you talk about Zelda. We want to know, where's the Breath of the Wild 2 at? Where's that game? But I'll get to that in a second. Okay. Uh, Now here's a couple games that I am extremely excited about. I'm not gonna lie. The Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, which is coming out in June. I'm very excited about that. Love the Ninja Gaiden games. They were excruciatingly hard and challenging, man. I remember those fucking games, and I loved every minute of it. Okay, love the Ninja Gaiden series on that, and we're gonna get them all. Hopefully, they can put it all on one disc. I'm gonna find that out. I gotta dig a little deeper on that one because if you have to download anything, I'm gonna walk away from this one. If I can get all of these games on a fucking cartridge, then I'm sold. I will do that. But if not, no. Okay. I don't want one game on the fucking thing and then two games you got to download. I hate that from Nintendo. Get off your ass. Stop being lazy, motherfuckers, and spend the money on the cartridge with the most space, which most companies tend to do, and let's get it fucking done. All right, let's not fucking cheap out on this one, guys. Okay. Now the other game that I am so extremely happy about is Mario Golf. There's a Mario fucking golf game. Yes, a new Mario Golf game. I love golf games, number one. Let me first start out by saying that. But then Mario Golf, oh, yeah, you got me. This is one I'll definitely be playing online with because they did announce that it is going to be online play. There's a story mode in there as well. So you can play, of course, with the Mario characters, the characters of that franchise, but you can create your own character, your Wii version, and you can level him up or her up to your liking and challenge other people. It's going to be dope. I think it's going to be dope. I'm going to definitely add this one to the collection for sure. Mario Golf, and that's coming out in June as well. Now, here's the meat and potatoes of this discussion when it comes to Nintendo. And I have to just say this, and I know a lot of people out there listening feel the same way because I've been seeing it out here in these digital streets. It's real. And one of those things is the fact that Nintendo, we have three major games missing. The main ones, the main franchises, let's just say. All right. That's Bayonetta 3. Everybody's been checking for Bayonetta 3. No word on it. No info. Okay. The Metroid game. Now, in defense of Metroid and what they've been, doing, they did start the game, some years back, and then they had to fucking scrap what they had and basically tear up the paper, throw it out, and start over. So I'm giving them kind of a pass on that. But still, I would love to see like the progress or see something, with this game. Are we even going to get it in the lifespan of the fucking Nintendo Switch? We should, but Jesus Christ. I mean, can we get some information? But that's not the worst of it. And then Breath of the Wild 2. The sequel. All right. Now they did say they give us a quick inkling of, they basically just told us. I know you guys are wondering about Breath of the Wild, but we're unfortunately we don't have any info on that for you right now. Okay. All we can tell you is that the production is going smoothly. Okay, and that we'll give you information at a later date on this title. Okay, and that's it. That's all we get. All right. And that's where we're at, man. I mean, a lot of people want the trilogy, the Metroid trilogy, to go on and say, look, just give us the trilogy, man. Same thing with Zelda. Do something with Zelda as far as the anniversary, which is coming up. Let's get some of that going. Something, guys. But, to hold us over until the Metroid game comes out or Breath of the Wild 2. But I don't know what it seems like with Nintendo, man, they drag their feet on a lot of these things. They really do. Or it never happens, Like Bayonetta should have been done, or it should have at least been done enough to get some new information on this shit. But we don't have it, and I don't know when we will. This Nintendo Direct was really the only Nintendo Direct that we've actually had in a long time. Like those minis and whatever. I mean, that's cool, whatever. But this was an actual full-fledged, Direct, and I don't know when the next one will be. I'm hoping like summer is when we get another one, at least in summer, and we'll get some new information as other games are coming out or whatever. And Nintendo's also been known to fucking hide their shit very, very well and to hit us over the head when we least expect it with certain announcements and things of that nature. So I'm hoping that's what it is. But for them not to mention anything on Breath of the Wild 2, no footage, no nothing. We got that one trailer, that was it. Metroid, no information on that, the progress of that game, or even if we're going to get any of their other IPs, which they could easily, make. The only thing we got is Skyward Sword. I'm not I wasn't pleased with that. I was on the side that felt that Nintendo should have shown a little bit more, just a little bit more, I think, and bring to the table, especially when you're dealing with your main franchise, your Metroids and your Breath of the Wilds, your Zelda stuff, man. I mean, there's other IPs out there that we could have, but they're choosing not to give them to us for whatever fucking reason. Or maybe they're working on it and they're just trying to hide it and they want to hit us with it at a later date. One of those like ninja kind of announcements that they give us. Oh, it's available right now. Where you can go to the eShop and it's there now. Like something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed on that aspect, definitely. And then you take a game like Splatoon 3, which they announced. Let's talk about Splatoon 3. There's a lot of Splatoon people out there who love this game, this franchise. And, that was the very last game that they brought up to the table. And this game comes out, guess when, guys? 2022. Okay? So this is my issue. This is my issue with Nintendo, with is Splatoon kind of like open up Pandora's box for this. You announce Splatoon 3 and you say 2022. Okay? That brings me back to these other games, the Breath of the Wild sequel, the Metroid game. If Splatoon is not coming out till 2022, how did you manage to come up with a whole trailer for this shit and we still have no game trailers for the other games, unless you guys don't plan on releasing the Metroid game or Breath of the Wild in 2022. Okay? If you're releasing those games in 2022 and not 2021, which a lot of us are hoping will be released in 2021, why don't we have more trailers? Why don't we have any more information? That's just confusing to me. Okay, so it tells me a few things. It tells me that either they don't plan on releasing these games in 2021 and they don't plan on doing these until 2022, or if they are releasing them in 2021 or one of them in 2021, then they're trying to hit us with a surprise. And that's the only two things I can think of. That's it. At least, they could have done this with Metroid and gave us a small trailer and said 2022. Or the same thing with, Breath of the Wild, a new trailer, 2022 or 2023. I don't go, just let us know a window. Give us a window, But we didn't get any of that. We got Splatoon 3 though. So yeah, I'm confused. Nintendo, if you're listening, I'm confused. I'm a little, I don't know. You got to let me know what's going on with you guys. But like I said, summer is when a lot of things happen. We have a lot of releases coming from the summer on all platforms. And that's when we get other announcements made for the winter. And early, the next year, that's when we get those drops. So if we don't get anything by July, then you should know that, it may be in danger. These games may be in danger. So hopefully we hear something on another direct sometime in the summer and we get more information on these other games that we're excited about. But I just really felt that Bayonetta 3, I really feel that game should be released this year. I really also feel like Breath of the Wild should be released this year, because Breath of the Wild came out, the first one came out when the Switch came out, day one. Okay? Years. Okay, so that's just how I feel. It's been enough time. They have the IP, the skeleton of the IP already out from Breath of the Wild from the first game. I just think the only game that I'm giving a pass to is the Metroid game, and they had to start from scratch all over again. And I think 2022, early 2022, hopefully, maybe we get this Metroid out. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I'm at right now. So I don't know, guys. How do you feel about it? What are your thoughts on the Nintendo Direct that just happened? If you even give a fuck about it. A lot of you listening, probably don't even have a Nintendo Switch. But if you had a Nintendo Switch, what games would you be looking forward to? Did you watch the Direct, or give me something? I would love to hear from you. That's gonna do it for the show, though. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I will definitely see you guys next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. But before you get out of here, guys, could you do your boy a favor and go check out StudioMguyvR.com. That's all things Studio MacGyver there, okay? You can show your love and support for the show there in many different ways. You can make a donation. You could fucking buy some merch from, you know, you can do a number of different things there. You can download free music that I've made, that I have done, or you can listen to some musical projects that I've done. If you're into 80s retro synthwave stuff, you can check out some of the music there. If you love Dragon Ball, like I love Dragon Ball, there's a Dragon Ball song that I did, and you can actually download that for free. You can get that. There's links, all those things are there. If you want to follow me on any of my social media platforms or just check them out for shits and giggles, you can do all those things there as well. Instagram, Facebook, things of that nature, etc., etc. Okay, you can do that as well. So yeah, all these different things you guys can have access to if you just go to StudioMguyvR.com, and yeah, it'll help me out definitely, and you'll be doing yourself a great service as well. You know what I'm saying? Who doesn't want to hear the Dragon Ball song, the infamous Dragon Ball song? You should go check it out, if anything, just for that. Okay? Or go get yourself a motherfucking hoodie or a fucking t-shirt. Go get yourself a fucking warm butter hoodie, man. It's still cold out. If you know, if you're waiting for the summer, get you a fucking t-shirt, a warm butter t-shirt. Or get you an official Studio MacGyver, the podcast t-shirt. You can get all that stuff there. So yeah, man, just go StudioMaguyver.com and you can get all of that there, baby. All right. I want to thank everybody once again for listening, for everybody for downloading, streaming, watching, whatever you guys, however you guys consume this. I want to say I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. It's been a fucking joy to be doing this podcast for this long and to have it grow the way it's been growing. It's not really growing on YouTube yet. It's just fresh on YouTube. But as far as just the actual platform of people who listen and download this, man, it's been I've been having a great time, and I've been seeing the numbers just grow each and every fucking week. You know what I mean? Every show, every podcast. So with that, man, I just have to say I thank you guys and I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening. And with that being said, I'm out. I'm going to get my ass out of here. I'm going to go get some ice cream, and yeah, I'm going to watch some wrestling. So you have been listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. See you next time.